So Tom Lee just made a very bold call about the stock market, how it's going to finish out 2025, and a lot of people are going to make a lot of money. Let's take a listen.
At the start of this year, we would have said U.S. bombing a nuclear facility is a black swan. Oil would be 120, stocks should be down 10%. And then we have the event, and oil is not really surging, and stocks are up. So I'd almost say that you've put another stress test into the market. We've seen it pass it, and I think it means stocks should do pretty well.
So Tom is saying that the fact that we bombed Iran, we blew up their nuclear enrichment facilities, and stocks happen to be up on the news of this happening, and the price of oil is not going up through the moon either. Oil is actually going down. This is very, very bullish for the stock market because it's like, how many bad things can we throw at the market right now and it's still holding up very well? This was pretty bad news, and the market's still doing just fine. So what else can happen that's going to bring the stock market down? Well, let's listen to what Tom has to say.
I guess when you think about the impact for U.S. stocks and bonds and the dollar, it comes down to growth and inflation expectations. And the key, Tom, is whether either of those things have changed in light of recent geopolitical events.
Yeah, and as you know, core CPI doesn't include energy. And as you know, when the ECB looks at core inflation, they exclude housing. Housing is not part of ECB's core CPI, and they're cutting. If you calculated U.S. CPI on the same exact basis, it's lower than Europe. So I do think there should be a dovish tilt towards the Fed, or that's the upside opportunity into year end as well.
So what Tom is talking about right here is this idea that there's positive upside surprise left in the market because inflation is not actually as high as what people think it's at. So when people think inflation is actually higher than what it is, there's going to be less interest rate cuts priced into the market. So for 2025, there's only 2 interest rate cuts priced in right now. And for 2026, there's only 1 interest rate cut. So till the end of 2026, only 3 25 basis point interest rate cuts are expected to come. But what Tom is actually saying, what not many people are looking at right now, is the fact that inflation is actually a lot lower than what people are looking at right now. And when that gets realized into the market, there's going to be more interest rate cuts that get priced in. And when that happens, there's a lot of positive upside surprise in stocks. But there is a couple issues with the stock market right now, and that's what Tom Lee's going to go into.
Tom, there seems to be a speculative nature to the market that's creeping in again. I wonder if it's a concern. And when I say that, I'm talking about the reception of some of the IPOs. I mean, granted, very well received, but Circle's now got a $62 billion market value. CoreWeave, almost $90 billion. You got a lot of SPACs coming back. I don't know if you've seen it. Yeah. Even Chamath is coming back with some SPACs. Any concern to you or no?
It is. I mean, those are echoes of 2021, which is some stocks get fantastically bizarre valuations, and I'm not naming any. And
you want to name some?
And then there is signs of speculation. And but the one thing that was true in 2021 that's not true now is when I meet with fund managers, in 2021, they said there was no stock they could buy because everything was expensive. That's actually not true anymore. Now the people I talk to are saying, look, the numbers have been better and numbers are going up, but the macro is making them uncertain. So there's actually a lot less risk taking by institutional investors.
So to the extent a speculative part of the market is something you monitor, it's not hitting a level that is that concerning to you.
Yeah, I mean, to me, David, it's a sign that the cohort that is speculating are the ones that bought the dip in April. As you know, it was retail, the Robinhood community, that was buying in April when institutions were selling and raising cash and high net worth was raising cash. So it's the same crew now that is buying, the Circles at 1 times assets under management, which is tremendous. But it's not speculation to me yet because I'd say high net worth is not really that invested and institutions are still pretty cautious.
So it's pretty ironic because the vast majority of people that are watching this video right now, you guys are pretty much all retail investors and a lot of you guys have Robinhood accounts. It doesn't really matter if you have Robinhood or not, but it's the fact that when we dipped in April for the tariff situation, the majority of the dip buyers were retail investors like us. We're all retail investors. And institutional investors, they were putting cash on the sidelines, they were selling. So the difference right there is that, yes, the retail investor made a lot of money off the April lows and they bought the dip when we rebounded up pretty high. But now that the market's now pretty much at all-time highs, retail traders are coming in because they're confident that they made a lot of money off that April low dip. So you bought the dip, you made a lot of money, and now you're buying Circle, which is trading at absolutely astronomical valuation levels right now. And a lot of those gains that you guys made in April coming up to right now, a lot of those gains are probably going to get wiped out because, again, you're overly confident, you're getting emotional, you think the market's just going to keep going up. And that is when the smart money is going to come in. They're going to sell their stocks at all time highs, and you're going to be the one that buys them. And then you're going to be left holding the bag on the way down. So what Tom is saying is, yes, there's speculation. There's just retail speculation right now. There's not really institutional speculation just yet. And to be honest with you, I'm on the institutional side right now. I don't think right now is the time to be leveraging out and buying call options on Circle. I think that there's a lot of very overvalued companies right now, but there's also some companies that are pretty cheap that I do think you could make plays on. You could buy calls, you could sell puts, you could buy shares, and you can make a crap ton of money. And at the end of this video, I'm going to go into 4 different companies right now that are my favorite companies that if you be patient and you hold them and you do options in a way that I'm going to show you, I think that you're going to make a lot of money doing it.
But what is the underlying view that you have that makes you bullish? Is it that the economy is hanging in? Is it that earnings are picking up?
Well,
What's the fundamental reason?
I think when we look at macro, on the margin, things are better. We have better visibility on tariffs into 2026. We have regulation and tax, like legislation visibility into 2026. I think the Fed is now being questioned about their unwillingness to cut. I mean, it was apparent like 5 out of the 10 questions during the press conference were about that exact question. So there's a dovish Fed. I know consumers are overly cautious right now, but as you know, inflation expectations are far above CPI. That's a positive surprise if delivered inflation's lower. And then businesses have been really resilient. You know, I mean, I think actually the economy might be weakening, but earnings have been better. So overall, with all the cash on the sidelines, I mean, I would say we should be quite bullish, actually.
So let me break down what Tom Lee said super quick, and then we'll go into the 4 companies that if you buy right now, you could potentially turn thousands of dollars into millions of dollars. I'm not clickbaiting you. I'm not messing with you guys right now. I personally hold all 4 of these companies in my portfolio right now, and I do think it's a very, very bullish setup. But let's break down what Tom Lee's talking about. So Tom Lee is talking about this idea that CPI inflation right now is roughly 2.5%, but the 1-year and 5-year inflation expectations are much higher than what it's actually at right now. So what's happening is the market is pricing in higher inflation expectations, but in all reality, inflation is staying well below those high expectations. So when we get reading after reading after reading of lower inflation than what's actually being priced into the market, that is a positive upside surprise, because as inflation goes down, interest rates could go down, and as interest rates go down, stock prices usually go up. And on top of that, the number one thing that moves the price of a stock in the long run, as you guys know by watching this channel, is what the earnings per share of these companies do. So when interest rates are lower, the cost of capital is lower, people are going to go spend more money. When people spend more money, revenue goes up, earnings per share goes up, the corporate profits go up. When that goes up, stock prices go up. So it's this bullish cycle when interest rates go down and when inflation goes down that the stock market typically goes up. All right, so let's cover those 4 companies super quick. So number 1, it's going to be TSM. So TSM is basically the backbone of the entire AI sector, and they basically control over 90% market share of the AI chip manufacturing. So TSM does not actually design the chips, they build the chips. So companies like AMD and companies like NVIDIA, they're basically like the architects, and they write the blueprints for the chips, and they send the blueprints to TSM and they say, hey, can you make this for us? So TSM makes 95% of the chips that go into these data centers for AI stuff. So they're really the only player in town when it comes to chip manufacturing, and they pretty much have a monopoly on everybody. So if you believe in tech and if you believe in an AI revolution that's coming, you need to have exposure to TSM. I think it's cheap fundamentally. I think that China invading Taiwan is way overblown. I don't think that's actually going to happen. And I really feel confident that if you buy calls and if you sell puts on a longer duration basis, like 1 year, you will make a crap ton of money doing it. So a trade that I'm suggesting right now is potentially consider selling puts on TSM. Take the profits when you sell those puts and either buy calls, or you could buy Leap, or you could just take that money when you sell the puts and just go buy shares of TSM. Now, stock number 2 is going to be Meta. Meta has a moat. Meta has pricing power. Meta is cheap right now fundamentally. And a very key thing that not many people are talking about is that for 2025, Meta guided that roughly 40% of their gross revenue is going to go towards capital expenditures. And the vast majority of those capital expenditures are going to be for AI data center build out. So, what happens when they build out their data center to some sort of level to where it's kind of like sustainable and they don't have to spend a crap ton of money building that out anymore? Where's all this profits going to go? So they're going to have less expenses and they're going to be realizing the profits from these data centers because they built their large language models, they worked this into their ad platform, and now Meta is more efficient and spending less money on CapEx. So when that happens, earnings per share will go way up for Meta and the stock price is going to go up too. And again, it's fundamentally cheap right now and so is TSM. So the third company, of course, is going to be NVIDIA, but let me explain why, because not many people look at NVIDIA this way. And I personally feel like NVIDIA fundamentally right now is trading very close to intrinsic value. And intrinsic value is just the true value of the company. But NVIDIA has a moat. They have pricing power. They're the best chip designer in the world right now. They're still better than AMD, but AMD is catching up rapidly. But for the time being, NVIDIA has the best chip and they have CUDA, which is essentially the software that runs on top of these chips. So NVIDIA is the big dog in town. Everybody wants the NVIDIA Blackwell. They want the Blackwell Grace. These companies can't get their hands on enough of these chips. And I feel like the build out for these data centers is just getting started. And I don't think demand's really going to slow down for the near term future. Now, the fourth company, which is honestly my favorite company, and not many people talk about this, is it's going to be AMD. So AMD is kind of like the one step below NVIDIA, but AMD is quickly closing the gap between them and NVIDIA. And as time goes on, they're getting closer and closer and closer. And the main advantage right now that NVIDIA has over AMD is that NVIDIA has CUDA, which is essentially the software that runs on top of these chips. And this is where all the developers are at. So imagine like the iPhone, but then you have the iOS, the software, and then you have these apps like the App Store being built on top of the software. So NVIDIA is definitely number one from that aspect. But AMD is coming and they're coming quick, and NVIDIA knows that. So these two companies are competing for the top dog spot. And I honestly feel like there's so much demand in this AI sector that both companies are going to win in the long run in this sector. So in my opinion, I think it's worth it to own both of them because it's very, very hard to know who's going to be the big dog winner in the long run. So I personally believe in both. I think both are cheap fundamentally. I think both companies, there's a lot of demand for their chips. So I think right now is a great time to buy shares of AMD and NVIDIA and to sell puts on AMD and NVIDIA, maybe like a 1-year put, 10-20% below right now for the strike price. And you take that premium and you buy shares, or you take that premium and you buy calls. Once you do that, just be patient, ride out the volatility. It's going to be very, very bumpy. But 1 year from right now, I'm willing to bet that you're going to wish that you had more shares, you had more call options, you sold more puts, because I expect these companies to be much higher 1 year out from right now. And with that being said, hope you guys got value from this video. And if you want to learn more about my stock option strategy, watch this video right here. It's going to walk you through my raw video. It's about 20 minutes long, going start to finish of my strategy. And if you do that, you'll be able to implement it in your portfolio right now. And you will very, very likely scale to millions of dollars. So if you have 20 minutes to spare right now, I promise you that you're not going to regret it if you watch it all the way till the end. And I'll see you guys there.